Hello, I'm Dane, and welcome to another episode of Dax Jutsu. In today's episode, I will discuss my solution to a pose in the fabric community. So basically, this is the main essence of the pose. So what the user wants is whenever a user selects a customer from a dropdown or from a slicer, and the FY or the fiscal year of that customer starts in June, then the month should be sorted from June until May. And now, if it is April, of course, the month will be sorted from April until March. Let's inspect the data. So currently, what we have is first the customer table. This is a customer table, and we have column one, which is supposed to mean customer. The start month, the end month, and month number, which pertains to the start month. And the data, which can't use this. And of course, the data, the fact table. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with our magic. Well, first thing we need to do is we go to the query editor. Now, I've already copied the data from load the data in the semantic model because I can't do anything about this query here because I don't have access to the data source. So let's start with the data. Here we go. And then we begin by adding the month numbers. So basically, what the month number will contain is just a list of numbers. And in this case, we are generating numbers from 0 to 11. So this is how you create a list of numbers. We have the start number, then two dots, and then the end number. And the whole string needs to be enclosed with what do you call this? Curly brackets. And they need to be numbers. Now, if you, for example, enclose the numbers in quotation marks, they will, the, this formula will still generate a list of numbers, but they're not numbers anymore, they're text. Okay, so I'll cancel that. Yes, cancel that. And let's go ahead and spec the result of our list. So this is our list 0 to 11. And you might be wondering why 0, 9, why not 1? And I will show you later. So after that, we expand that list, that column that contains list. We go by, we expand by selecting this ribbon here, or button or icon, and then of course expand to new rows. And now they're expanded. And after that, we need to create a custom column. So basically what this custom column does is you have your start date, and we don't have a date column here. So what we need to do is do magic with M. So this is the date function. It requires the year, the month number, and the day. So you can put any year, it doesn't matter. But the month number should tell us the actual month number in the calendar, not in the physical calendar. So month number is this 6 and day is 1. So this will generate for this row a date June 1, 2024. Then after that, of course, we need to add months to this number. And we do that by using date.add months function. So we have our start date and we add the month numbers from this. So this is why we start with zeros because we want our start date to be the actual start date, not a month later. And if you're not familiar with creating variables, so applied steps within an applied step or within a custom column. So you start with your variable applied step name and your expression or your formula, and then you end that with a comma. And the last variable, which immediately precedes the in clause, doesn't need to have a comma. Now, in the last variable, this is what it does. So basically, date.toText is kind of format function in DAX, but this is specific to date only. So this will convert this add month to a text month as text containing this format M in uppercase. Why uppercase? Because Power Query is case sensitive. Now, if I use small letters M, that will pertain to minutes instead of the month. So let's try that. Um, let's see the result. Now we have 000 because, this variable here creates a date and it's just date. There's no hours, minutes, or seconds. That's why we're getting 0 because our minutes is 0. So let's change that to uppercase M and here we go. And then added two column. Okay, so what does added two column step do? So basically, I simply added, this started with 0. I simply added 1 to each number in the month numbers. And I did that by going to transform and then add. And we added just insert. We add 1 to each row value in month numbers. I'm gonna cancel that. So now we remove some of the columns and then we rename the column. So why did I rename it to month name underscore instead of month name? Because I want to use the word month name for the actual month name. This isn't our actual month name yet. What I mean is that this is our actual month name, but we want to use a different column that shows the month name because we'll be using that in the visuals. I'm going to change type and load it to the model. Going back, let's go to relationships. Okay. So this was the initial relationship. We have the customer connected to customer in append one, which is the combination of these four FY tables. And then customer two, customer and customer two. Uh, I think this is wrong. It should be customer to customer. Mm. Let's change this to customer to customer. Save it. And this is wrong. This one is active. And you want the relationship to flow from customer to customer too. This should be right. Let's check if we have this correct. So customer, which is column one, and then customer. Did I hide that? Let me unhide this. Hide in the point view, and then customer. Okay, it's relationship is working. Now let's go back to our customer to table. This would have been simple if our month name could be sorted by month numbers, but since we have multiple sort value for each distinct value in month name, the GUI doesn't allow us to do that. So let's close this. And what do we do? So we will kind of mimic this month name. Then we, we, will- we want to mimic that, but we want to appear as the actual month name. So let's go to test. So basically what we want to do is to append or combine this unique character 8203, which if I'm not mistaken is a nil with space, and we want that added to our month name. If I put that a variable first, that's equals and return 820. If I return that, you will see that we have just working on it. I don't know what's happening lately. The new updates seems to be shifting or making an automatic alt tab to a different window whenever you change or update a measure or calculate column or a table. So test. Now let me add test to a visual. So test and test. So how many unique tests do we have? Just one. So going back again, change this a bit. Now if we return this variable, you will see that by the pane, going back. Now you can see that we have 12 blank rows and our unique value is also 12. So what we need to do now is to add this wrapped, or rather what wrapped that does is that it just repeats a character. So in this case, we repeated 8203 for row 1 just one time, and then for row 2 twice. And so we need to add this to our month name. And here we go. Customer month name. Let's try putting that in here first. And then let's follow that by month name. So why 8203 and not a space? Let's see. Why not a space? Yep. And we don't want that format. So let's go back to 8203. So okay. Go to page one. And so let's go back to this first, and I'll try to remove the sort. I'll go back to month name first. I'll sort this by its own column. So, okay. So we have a problem with this. It's not it's supposed to be sorted alphabetically, but it seems that in the visual, they're being treated differently. Because if you look at this, there is supposed to be some characters prior to customer month name, but it's not working because the numbers here or the months here are not sorted according to what they want. We are supposed to see, for example, we're supposed to see April, May, June, July, but we're seeing the orders different. So this needs to be sorted by month numbers. And since these are not actually the same value as this one, you can sort them multiple times. So for example, I'll go to June. You can see that there's only one June. So the clear all filters. But in here, how many Junes do we see? 3 Junes. And now let's go back to our measure. Let's create a measure. So we have the sum of value, which is very basic sum. And then we have the magic measure. So remember that there is no relationship between customer two and append, and I can't create a relationship between these two because that will cause ambiguity. So customer customer filters customer two, and then customer two filters append, and so that will create ambiguity because which one should prevail, customer to append one or customer two to append one? Since we don't have a relationship between those two tables, we need to propagate that relationship in a measure using maybe filter or treat us. In this case, we're going to use treat us. And this is more optimized in propagating virtual relationships. So treat us requires one, a table, an expression, or a table expression containing a table of the columns we want to propagate a relationship for, and of course the other column from the fact table. And voila, we have this. Now there is actually another way to go back, another way to force sort this, but we can't do that in Power BI GUI. So I'll duplicate this table, go to edit query, duplicate this, and I'll call that customer to duplicate and apply. Mhm. No. There you go. So where's customer to duplicate? Now let's try again to sort that by month numbers and error again. So how do we do that? You can brute force the sorting using tabular editor. And where is tabular editor? Here we go. And where is that column? Customer to duplicate, and then we expand this month name and sort by month numbers. Okay, let's hope it works because the last time I did, it worked. And save the changes to the model. And then let's create a relationship between. No, it created a relationship, but relationship is wrong. So let's customer A, customer. Okay, and let's test if that was sorted correctly. Customer to duplicate. So we have a month name. As you can see, because we applied multiple sort values, we're seeing the same month several times. I'll turn this into a slicer and I'll select August. No, August. Yeah, we can see it's the August. And let's add a customer. So if we select customer A, you can. No, that's supposed to be column one. Okay, customer A. So we have June, July, August, September until May. Customer B. Okay, so that's one way to brute force custom sorting, multiple custom sort values, and that is using the tabular editor. And another way, actually, which I will just discuss in a bit, is in your fact table, you can change the sort values of this month according to the customer and use the same month name and just brute force the sorting in the tabular editor. But this is not really advisable to be doing that in the fact table because your fact table can have millions of rows. And just imagine the implication of doing that in a fact table. Anyway, that's it from me. Thank you for staying and have a good one. Bye bye.